Baruch atah Asherah anat melecha ha'olam asher kiddushani v'mitzvotav v'tzivani le'idativ letzitzit. Good morning, Stallion of the Forest. What a name. What a name. Good morning, Christina Ann. How are you? So we can start with a vocal warm-up, and then we can move on to prayers. How are you doing, Sarah? It's nice to see you again. So, to start, do a quick body scan with me. Pay attention to your pelvis, your spine, shoulders, neck. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Inhale, and the next exhalation, let's make a tone. A very low tone, pure. As long as you can hold it, and as low as you can make it, sustainably. That was fun. You want to try that again, but a little bit higher? It'd be harder for me to sustain higher. Thank you. This was the first piece of feminine clothing that I ever got. I got this when I was like 21. And I held on to it, even though I didn't transition for 8 years. Because it's just such a good shirt. It fits me a lot better now. I like actually have boobs. Fits. Alright, so let's do that same exercise, only a little bit higher. This time, the tone that I'm going to sing is going to be fairly similar to my speaking tone. It's actually a very weak tone for me, so I try to practice it every morning. Thank you, Cheyenne. It means a lot to hear. Now we can go even higher. Thank you, Kim. Always happy when my mods arrive. Makes me feel secure. You are correct. I have some hair on my legs. And I would imagine that most of the women here in this room have hair on their legs. Would we like to do a poll? How many of you identify as women, and how many of you have hair on your legs? Good morning. See, at least one. Look at that. Would you look at that? You could braid the hair on your legs? Could braid the hair on your legs. That would be quite an accomplishment. I'd like to do that. Yeah, winter's coming. We need all the insulation we can get. I'm doing well. Yes, I'm Jewish, and we're about to do some Hebrew prayers. We're gonna do the Shema, and then the V'ahavta. These are both prayers from the book of Deuteronomy, which is the last book of the Torah, that was written around the time of the Babylonian exile. I look nervous this morning. That's interesting. I don't feel nervous. How do I feel this morning? I'm in a little bit of a time crunch. I need to move goats in an hour. So I have to do all prayers and have breakfast in an hour, and I don't like feeling time constrained, but I wouldn't say I'm nervous. Thank you. I'm glad you like my voice. I practiced a long time to find this voice. So, yes. How I'm moving. Oh, this? I'm just feeling into my body, my friend. Right? I want to be an embodied creature. But I appreciate the feedback, actually. Like, it's very valuable for me to know how people perceive me. When someone says, oh, I've got hairy legs, I don't care so much about that. But if someone's actually trying to, like, experience my emotional state and they perceive that state as anxious, that tells me something. It tells me something about my performance. Yeah, I suppose I'm looking a little stressed. That's entirely possible. Yes, so we're going to read from the book of Deuteronomy. Do I have any prayers about anxiety or good emotions? Well, in a way, I think all of these prayers are about that, right? Like, the prayers that we're about to say, what they're actually about is about allness, right? Trying to remind ourselves that we are not so separate from everything around us, right? And I think that is how anxiety comes. Anxiety is this feeling that our mental state, our state of being, is somehow separate from the world, right? And there's a disconnect, right? Something is going wrong, something might go wrong, right? There's a lack of correspondence between us and the reality that we're embedded in. At least that's how I experience anxiety, and I do experience anxiety often. And so all of these prayers that we're going to say today, and also the act of praying, right? It's not just the meaning of the prayers, it's the action. It's being here in this space together and sort of unifying our attention, and if we can, unifying our voices, right? That alignment can help us feel less anxious, right? And it's not just feeling, it's being, right? We will try to remind ourselves through our words and our actions that we are not so separate from the rest of the world as we might think. And in fact, we are all connected. Shema Yisrael Asher Eloheinu Yahweh Echad. Shema Yisrael, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad. Check in with your emotions. What emotion are you feeling when you have anxiety? Yeah, anxiety is actually several emotions rolled up in one, right? Like, it's fear, perhaps hunger, expectation, excitement. Anxiety is many things wrapped up in a bundle. Shema Yisrael, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad. Listen, Israel, Yahweh Eloheinu, Asherah. We can insert the Asherah name if we choose to do so. Asherah, Echad are one. Right, so the Deuteronomists who wrote the book of Deuteronomy, right, they were thinking about foreign gods. They were thinking about Assyrian gods, Babylonian gods, Philistine gods, Israelite gods, northern gods, southern gods. And they were trying to unite their people under a common ethnic identity. And they came upon this trick to insist that Yahweh Eloheinu Echad, all these gods, these very important gods that you and your ancestors worshipped, they're one God. They are the same. That's the message, right? it's a political message, but we can interpret that political message beyond its original scope and say, oh, it's not just that those characters from 2,500 years ago are one and the same. It's that all things are one and the same. All are one. All are one. You and me, connected through this screen. We're actually part of the same reality. ואהבת את ענת אלוהיך ובכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך וחיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך וחיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. What am I singing? What is this? I am asked. Every day I'm asked, what is this? This is the V'ahavta, right? In the words of the V'ahavta, they mean copy me, right? And what are they asking you to copy? They're asking you to copy this prayer, Shema, Shema Yisrael, Yahweh Eloheinu, Asher Echad, in Hebrew. The prayers mean all gods are one. God is one, right? And someone a moment ago said, well, no, that's certainly not the case. The gods are not all the same. I assure you, they're different. And with that one comment, it's difficult for me to know if you're coming from a Christian perspective of, like, what are you doing worshipping all of these different gods? Or coming from a polytheistic perspective, saying, what are you doing insisting that all these gods are the same? Clearly they're not. Ashra looks like this, and Ganesh looks like this. An elephant-headed deity. These are not the same gods. Clearly not. Right? But they are. They are underneath. Underneath, they all represent the same idea, and we're looking for that idea. We're not looking for any particular character, even as we want to empathize with those characters and understand them, right? I want to understand why Yahweh says that he is jealous, and why Yahweh asks for the deaths of brothers, neighbors, and kin after the Israelites create a golden calf. Why would this character want such a thing? Why would that action make him angry? It's an interesting thing to try to contemplate. Why? Why would that character exist in my ancient history? How is my morning going so far? I'm having a really nice morning. There is one true God. One true God. Yes, a volcano god who likes to put his name in stone and gets angry when you worship other stones. What background did I grow up in? How did I become where I am now? So I grew up Jewish, but I also spent a lot of time at the Shivananda Monastery in the mountains. My mother grew up Orthodox Jewish. Her parents were Holocaust survivors. So she grew up Orthodox Jewish, and she raised me in a conservative Jewish synagogue, but she also exposed me to many other religious traditions. And so all of those imprints are with me and influence the words that I'm saying to you today. The tree of life, this tree of life behind me, or this tree of life, the one with all of the names of all of the species on the tree, or maybe this one. I like this one better. This tree of life. Every creature that ever lived is on this tree, right? What are we doing today, right? Who are we praying to? I think that if we're praying to anyone, we're praying to this tree, right? That is why the tree is behind me whenever I pray, right? I am trying to remind myself that I am this tree, right? I am a branching pattern that has existed for 3.8 billion years and will continue to exist for billions of years more, right? I am part of this great tree. And so are you. We're all part of this great tree, and so we are the same creature. Fancy that. ואהבת את יהוה אלוהיך ובכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר נוהגים מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם בבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובנכתך בדרך ובשכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, וחיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. Listen, Israel, Yahweh Eloheinu, Asher Echad, all are one, and you shall love the Lord your God, Yahweh Eloheinu, this God that is one. You shall love this God with all your heart, and all your soul, and all your might. And these words that I'm saying to you today, that I've repeated to you twice today now, repeat them to your children, and recite them when you are at home, when you are away, when you lie down, and when you get up. And you shall bind them as a symbol on your hand, and you shall let them serve as a sign on your forehead. You shall inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Do I believe in baptism? I mean, what do you mean by believe? Like, it's a ritual that exists. It's a very powerful ritual. Do I believe in the power of baptism? Yes, absolutely. Do I believe that people do it? Yes, absolutely. Do I believe that it will save my soul and ensure that I go to heaven? No, but that's because I don't really believe in believing. I believe in repeating prayers. I think that that is important, right? The prayer says, repeat me, and so I repeat it. Don't they just dunk you into water? Just. It's a symbolic act. It means something quite profound. It's an experience of rebirth, right? The baptism tradition comes from the mikveh tradition. It's a purifying tradition, right? It's a very old action that, when you do it, connects you to all of those people who came before you who also did that action, right? It puts you squarely on this tree. So of course it's a very powerful ritual. How often do I go live? I go live 4 days a week. On Tuesdays and Thursdays and Fridays and Sundays. You didn't know that? What didn't you know? So the prayer says, copy me. The prayer says, teach me to your children. And maybe if you repeat me over and over and over, maybe you will understand this idea. Yahweh Echad. Oh, thank you for all the gifts. I really do appreciate it, you know? I wish I could spend more time on these lives. I wish I could spend more time on TikTok. But I can't, because I have to have a day job. Receiving tips is a really nice reminder that what I'm doing here is important. And that it's valued. It means a lot. So thank you. All of you. Let's do a little bit more Hebrew. What comes next after the book of Deuteronomy, after the Ahavta? It's this. V'chaya. Ki v'achaya Elohecha el ha'aretz asher nishba lavotecha le'avram li'yitzchak u'Yaakov latet avrim gedolot v'tovot asher lo vanita uvati mili'im kol tova asher lo milata uverot hatzavim asher lo hasata karim v'zitim asher lo natata ve'alachta ve'shavata hishamer lecha b'tishchach et Yahweh asher tishacha mi'eretz Mitzrayim mi'bet avadim. I wish I could sing that one. I don't have a tune for that one. It was never repeated in my synagogue, which I think is very interesting, right? The earlier prayers, the Shema and the V'ahavta that I do have tunes for, I learned those tunes before I knew the meaning of the words. And then when I started to learn the meaning of the words, when I actually read the book, I found these words after. And I've never heard them sung, because they're not often repeated, even though they come after the most commonly repeated words in Judaism. And they're not often repeated because they're a little bit embarrassing, in a certain way. When Yahweh Eloheinu brings you into the land that he swore to your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to assign to you, great and flourishing cities that you did not build, houses full of all good things that you did not fill, hewn cisterns that you did not hew, vineyards and olive groves that you did not plant, and you eat your fill. Take heed that you do not forget Yahweh, who freed you from the land of Egypt, the house of bondage. Hey, you live on stolen land, remember. Remember, 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 remember. You live on stolen land. I live on Oneida land. There were people who lived here before me who had this land stolen from them. I live on Tweedy land. There's an old farming family still in this area named Tweedy. And they were once very wealthy. They're less wealthy now because the times changed and they sold their farm. And it passed through a series of owners, and I live here now. You don't live on stolen land, Tristan. Really? Where do you live? Are you sure it's not stolen land? Whose land do you live on? All of you, whose land do you live on? I know that some of you know whose land you live on. We all live on stolen land. And I've been to Palestine, right? I've been to olive groves that were actually stolen. I've drunk water from cisterns that were actually stolen. Right? I've slept in houses that were stolen and that were given to people who had their homes stolen too. Right? Like, this is the irony of it, right? My grandparents had their home stolen from them by the Nazis. And they survived, and then they moved to America. Some of their relatives moved to Israel. And those relatives that moved to Israel were given homes by the Israeli government. Homes that were stolen from Palestinians, right? So those who lost their homes in a genocide gained them in another. So what are we to do? Mandinity. Good morning, how are you? Stolen from who, and who did they pay for the land? These are the questions that we should be asking, right? You all live on stolen land. I know you do. So we should acknowledge that. Whose land do you live on? Whose land? Let me know. I want to know. What did I learn about in Jewish school? Do they share of Christ's love? No, they don't talk about Christ's love in Hebrew school. They do not. We did talk about Christ a little bit, right? No one denies his existence or his historical importance. You don't understand why everyone focuses on the USA and says it's stolen, but the whole world is. It's true, the whole world is. The whole world has been stolen. Claimed and then reclaimed. Stolen and then conquered. And this is the world we live in, right? This is the trauma that every single one of us have inherited. And so when I say these prayers, I acknowledge that, and recognize that that is part of the world, that's part of God, right? It's part of my understanding of reality. I could not live in a reality without death, without suffering, without predation, or without theft, right? That is part of the world. And it is my responsibility as a full human being to come to terms with that, to incorporate that into myself and my reality, and to accept it. Can we say stolen one more time? Stolen. You know, I wish I could say I love you back. Because, like, on one level I do. Right? Like, people say I love you on this stream. Oh, I love you. And I love it. I absolutely love it. I love reading it. I love hearing it. Right? Like, it makes me feel like a valuable person. And yet, you know, I can't say I love you back because I have no idea who you are. And so I can't actually love you. Right? But, nuts?
Yep.
Nuts in the mail?
Yep.
Thanks.
Welcome.
Thanks for the nuts. I wish we bought bulk nuts, but we didn't, so I bought nuts. Bye.
Bye.
I can't in honesty say that I love you to people who say I love you in this stream, but I do love this community, right? Like, I love this audience, like this shared consciousness, right? Like, I don't know about your personal traits individually. I know some of your traits, right? Some of you are here that I know fairly well. But many of you I just know in aggregate. The one-sided aspect of social media influencers or celebrities versus viewers is so unique. Yeah, because, like, I do have a feeling that I would label love that I feel towards you, but it's not you, it's all of you, right? Parasocial love. Parasocial love. What is that? What a strange emotion to feel. A very strange emotion to feel. I'd love you if I knew you. That's some confidence. That's some confidence. I like that kind of confidence. We all feel like we know you, and we see you and talk with you, but I don't see you or know you. Yeah, it's true. A 2021 type of emotion, yeah. Exactly, it's only a kind of emotion that could be experienced in the modern age. Jesus never felt an emotion like this. But maybe something similar, right? Like, that, like, in a certain way, right? Like, Jesus loved the world. God so loved the world, he gave it his only son, right? Like, it's a love that is so diffuse that it cannot possibly pinpoint its target. And, like, I think that's a valuable kind of love to practice, you know? What is my relationship like with my father? Poor. I made a video about it. I'm gonna make others. Probably the most vulnerable video I've ever put on here. My relationship with my father is very poor. I haven't really had a conversation with him since I transitioned. We would be garden fairies together, and it would be lovely and love-filled. Good morning. Good morning, good morning. I came upon a wedding that old families had contrived, with Bethlehem the bridegroom and Babylon the bride. Oh, great Babylon was trembling, and she stood there naked with me, and Bethlehem inflamed us both like the shy one at some orgy. And when we fell together, all our flesh was like a veil that I had to draw aside to see the serpent eat its tail. Oh. Some women wait for Jesus, and some we wait for Cain. So I'll hang upon this altar, and I'll hoist my axe again, and I'll take the one who finds me back to where it all began, back when Jesus was the honeymoon, and Cain was just a man, and we'll read from pleasant Bibles that are bound in blood and skin, that Asherah is gathering all her children back again. Who is Asherah? What is the symbol on my hand? This is Asherah's symbol, the snake. Take a snake and put it on a pole. That's a song about the Babylonian exile, right? A song about Bibles bound in blood and skin. The trauma that makes us, right? The serpent that eats its tail. It's not a beautiful image, right? It's a rather grotesque image, right? Consuming yourself. It's a nightmare image. I've had nightmares about this image. Dysphoric nightmares. That's why I put it on my hand. And yeah, trauma is a nightmare, right? And so we recognize that that nightmare, the nightmare of the destruction of a city, or of the Holocaust, or of any number of terrible racist genocides that have happened over the years, right? They all affect us, right? They all make the society that we live in. Like a wedding, like a marriage, right? New birth. They made society. Those traumas, those horrors, those nightmares. They made this society. They made us. So we want to understand ourselves. We have to understand that suffering. Baruch atah Yahweh, Eloheinu melech haolam, Shelu Ashani Isha. Along with the victories, yes. Perhaps I don't emphasize that enough, because I'm Jewish. Yeah, you don't just need to emphasize the suffering. You don't just need to worship the genocidal lunatic. I repeat the name of Yahweh Eloheinu, who did not make me a woman. Baruch atah Asherah. Anat Malecha Ha'olam Asher Yitzaret Ha'adam B'chachama U'v'ra V'o. I repeat the name of Asherah Anat, who made me with many openings and cavities, right? We can find balance, right? We can repeat the names of both the male and the female deities, right? The deities that both take and give. We don't just need to focus on the suffering. We can find a kind of balance. Asherah, the terrible goddess who would gather her children up again, eat them alive, right? Also a goddess of fecundity. And this tree, right? Tree grows up out of the skull. Tree grows up out of the skull. Life and death, they're intertwined. We can find balance. I like my hair quite a lot too. Thank you. You know, I really like it when people tell me I'm beautiful. Like, I really like it. Or people tell me that my voice is calming. Like, it makes me really happy to read those things. Kajananam Buddhaganati Sevitam Kapita Jambupalasara Bakshitam Ummasutam Sukavinasakarnam Mahamatim Divyam Mayura Vahanam Ridasyasrinam Sarasananatam Guham Sadanam Saranam Prapadye Yaku Hendutu Saraharadavala Yasupravasvarita Yavinavarandamanditakara Yasveta Padmasana Yabramachuta Sankara Pratrapite Vasata Pujita Samampatu Saraswati Bhagavati Nihe Sajadyapaha Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Sachidananda Murtaye Nisparanchaya Santaya Shishivanandaya Te Namaha Shri Vishnu Devanandaya Te Namaha Om Sarva Mangla Manglaye Shive Savarta Sadike Saranye Trayambake Gauri Narayani Namostite Narayani Namostite Om Wonder Garden System. Thank you for being here. I'm so glad that this is a space that you feel accepted in, and that it's helping you while you're going through what I imagine is a very scary medical experience. Yeah, I have a very dear friend who recently came out as plural, and I got a window into that mental reality that hurt me. I lost that friend because of the changes that they went through, and I suppose I gained many new ones, but the relationship changed, and it forced me to to look at my own capacity for empathy. If I'm being honest, I don't think I did a very good job at empathizing with their experience or understanding what they were going through or responding well when they lashed out. But I really do want this space to be a space that plural systems can feel comfort and feel acceptance. There are a number of plurals on my server. It's a kind of wound for me that I haven't really ever talked about on this stream before, because it's fresh. My friend stopped talking to me just very recently, but I really do want to understand their experience better, empathize with them better, and I hope that your scan goes well. Did I buy this skull? No, I didn't buy this skull. I found it in the forest. I'm a forager. Most of my videos are about foraging or dumpstering. Like, I don't pay for things like this. I don't really live in a world where I would have to pay for a skull. Death is just all around us, you know. I need to be bullied more. You know, when I was a little boy, I was bullied quite a lot for crying too much. I got bullied for crying too much. I think that's why I'm pretty fine with all the trolls in this space. I've been bullied quite a lot. Quite a lot. I don't think I need to be bullied anymore, and I don't think you can bully me. How does the Jewish community feel about trans? Many ways. What is a plural? What is a plural system? Many people who occupy one body. Brain's reaction to extreme childhood trauma. Yes. Triambakam yajamahe sugandim pushye vardhanam Orva rukami bhavandanan mrityor mukshiyamamritatom Om Triambakam yajamahe sugandim pushye vardhanam Orva rukami bhavandanan mrityor Mukshiyamamritatom Om Triambakam yajamahe sugandim pushye vardhanam Orva rukami bhavandanan mrityor Mukshiyamamritatom Om Sarvesham svastir bhavatu sarvesham shantir bhavatu sarvesham purnam bhavatu sarvesham mangalam bhavatu Sarve bhavantu sukhina sarve santu niramaya sarve bhadrani pashantu ma kashid dukhabhagbhave asatoma sadgamaya tamasoma jyotirgamaya mrityar mamritam gamaya Om purnamadam purnamidam purnat purnamudachyate purnasya purnamadaya purnamevavashishate Om shanti 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 Om peace 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 That outer world is full. This inner world is also full. From fullness comes fullness, taking full from full. Fullness remains like a serpent that eats its tail. Schizophrenia is similar, but plurality, DID, and OSTD includes dissociative amnesia. The world is full of neural diversity. Not all of it is pathological. In fact, most of it isn't. But sometimes it can hurt a lot. Sometimes it comes from hurt a lot. Hurt people, hurt people. Gosh, I'm really thinking a lot about trauma this morning. Wonder why. Do I reject the Trinity? No, I talk about the Trinity every day, right? Like, hey, so why don't I show you a new Trinity, a very old Trinity that you may never have seen before. The Body Keeps the Score. Yes, that's an excellent book. So this is a reproduction of a pottery shard that was found in Kunlet Arjud in the Sinai Peninsula, dated to about 3,000 years ago, and the inscription reads Yahweh and his Asherah, and here we have Yahweh Asherah, and in the background, a god king that could very well be El, right? The Father, the Son, the Mother. Trinity. Trinity. This mystery, that 3 is 1, that 2 is 1, Yahweh Echad, Yahweh Eloheinu Echad, this mystery that many gods can be one God is older than talk of the Trinity, older than the word Trinity, by thousands of years. Can 3 be 1? Well, yes, and no. That's a paradox. That's mathematically impossible. 1 does not equal 3. 3 is 3 times more than 1. Sure, I believe in the Trinity. I hope my mind clears the negative and fills with all the positive things I've done. Yeah, there has been a lot of trauma talk. I'm sorry. I mean, I guess I talk about trauma every day, right? Like in many ways, the prayers that I've chosen are about trauma. But they're not... I don't want to be a downer about it. Like, I just think that trauma is a part of our lived experience, and so we need to, like, it should be part of our prayers, right? Like, or maybe, to say it a little bit stronger, like, I think prayer, can help us process trauma, right? Like, I think prayer is the logical response to trauma. Like, that is what the Old Testament is, right? It is a religious, it's a prayerful response to trauma. And so if I'm repeating words from the book of Deuteronomy, like that, I can't help but do that. Yeah. We don't mind the trauma talk. We mentioned it because someone asked why I seemed down. Yeah. Well, why don't we sing a very optimistic prayer, right? This is a prayer with balance. It's a prayer in English. It's by Edward Sharpe and the Magnetic Zeros. And it's an American prayer, right? And it's not about trauma, although it is about love and hate and life and death. I don't want to pray to my maker, no. I just want to be what I see. Not just who I am, but the pink in golden land and that wide, wild sky over me. Help me to the sun. Hey, I'm looking everywhere. See, I'm looking to become not the prayer, but the prayer. And I don't want to pray, no. I don't want to pray, no, no, no. I don't want to pray, we don't want to pray. Pray, and it's not much good to talk, better to walk it. Ooh, not much good to take, better to give. We are done, forgiven, and forgotten of our sins, and I promise you, my friends, all that dies will live again. So, pardon, God and Mom, what I'm saying isn't fair. See, I'm looking to become not the prayer, but the prayer, and I don't want to pray, no. I don't want to pray, no, no, no. I don't want to pray, we don't want to pray. Pray, and it's not much good talk, better to walk it. Ooh. Love my God, God made love, and Yahweh, Yahweh made hate. Asher, Asher, made good, and Anat made bad. Eloheinu made love, and Yahweh, Yahweh made hate. Love Allah. God made, God made, God made. But I don't want to pray to my maker. I just want to be what I see. Not like in a book or the leaves of trees that shook from a word that means only not a thing. Hashem. Pardon, God and Mom, what I'm saying isn't fair. See, I'm looking to become not the prayer, but the prayer, and I don't want to pray, no. I don't want to pray, no, no, no. I don't want to pray, we don't want to pray. Pray. I love Allah, Allah made love, and Yahweh, Yahweh made hate. Asher, Asher made good, and Anat made bad. Eloheinu made love, and Yahweh, Yahweh made hate. I love Allah. God made, God made, God made me. Except that's a lie, right? Or a fiction, right? None of those gods exist outside of the words we use for them, the statues we make of them. And in reality, I made me. And on another level, you all are making me, right? Your presence here with me this morning really, truly allows me to be this person. Tiresias instead of Teresa, perhaps. Right? I get to be this character for you. And for that I am so grateful. So grateful. You've been very blurry today, but eventually you'll figure out who's out. Is that a common experience for you, that you don't know who's out in the early morning? It takes a while to sort through. Hello, good morning. So, no, you can't live with me, but you can study with me if you like. I have a mycology internship every summer, and if you're interested in coming to study here, you can, in the month of July. And the first step to coming to study here would be to join my Discord server, because I'll be selecting from people who have already been a part of my community for some time. So yeah, if you want to come visit here next summer, do join my Discord server, and then we can chat about that. Some mornings, if there's something stressful coming up or you don't have tea or coffee. So alertness helps, caffeine helps. Okay. So, I have a couple more prayers for you today. And then breakfast. What's for breakfast? Today we're gonna have rice with garlic. Garlicky rice. With olive oil and seaweed and nuts and dried fruit. Hey Taylor, how are you? Tea triggers out Val and coffee triggers out Lonto because they make them happy. Interesting. They respond to different breakfasts. Of course. That makes sense. So I have a couple more prayers. Thank you, Vintage Wildflower. You're always so kind to me. I have a couple more prayers. Arati and Kaddish. I'm drinking water. And the word Arati means flame, and Kaddish means holy. Holy flame. So here's our little Arati Kaddish. So the language of this prayer. I'm your favorite. Wildflower, can I ask you about your religious background? I assume from the way that you dress that you're Muslim. Like, probably fairly religious. And so I think it's really cool that you're so frequently on my live praying with me. I don't actually get a lot of Islamic folk. Yeah, you're Muslim. I do excuse me. I've probably mentioned to you, I do research in Palestine. And when I was there, I would pray at mosques with my friends. But I know very little about Islam. I've never read the Quran. Not that that is really what you need to... You do your own prayers. Yeah, I know you do your own prayers. Do you pray 5 times a day? Different things in life trigger out different system members, so if we don't come across a specific trigger, we can become very blurry. Huh! That's so interesting. You do, yes. How close do you live to the nearest mosque? You're a practicing Muslim. Like, you live in London, right? So there are areas in London, like, I just have such vivid memories of being in the hills in Palestine and hearing the call to prayer, like, echoing through the hilltops, because, you know, there they have minarets every I don't know, 3 or 4 in every town, right? Every hearing distance, there's another minaret. And so there would be places where you could sit and just hear them all around you. Call to prayer is one of the most beautiful things. But I imagine you don't hear that in London. Like, maybe there are regions where the call to prayer happens like that, but probably not. Yes, I'm American. Good morning, baby love. Call to prayer is beautiful. Does it get broadcasted through your neighborhood? There are areas of call to prayer, right? So it does get broadcasted through your neighborhood. Really? That's great. Okay. Well, maybe we should pray. We should stop talking about praying and pray instead. So this is a Sanskrit prayer. If anyone asks while I'm praying, you can let them know it's Sanskrit. Yes, but you have an app, so your phone will set off the prayer call. Of course! Of course! You're a TikToker! Of course your phone just starts with the prayer call. Oh, that's great. Oh, that's so good. Yeah, we can be high-tech prayers. High-tech prayers together. Oh, that's so good. Jaya Jaya Ratiya Vina Vinayaka Vina Vinayaka Shri Ganesha Jaya Jaya Ratiya Subramanya Subramanya Kartikeya Jaya Jaya Ratiya Venugopala Venugopala Venuola Papa Vidura Navanita Chora Jaya Jaya Rati Venkanta Ramana Venkanta Ramana Sankata Harana Sita Rama Radhe Shama Jaya Jaya Rati Gauri Manohara Gauri Manohara Bhavani Sankara Samba Sadashiva Uma Maheshwara Jaya Jaya Rati Raja Rajeshwari Raja Rajeshwari Tripura Sundari Mahalakshmi Mahasaraswati Mahakali Mahashakti Jaya Jaya Rati Anjaneya Anjaneya Hanumanta Jaya Jaya Rati Dattatreya Dattatreya Trimurti Avatara Jaya Jaya Rati Adityaya Adityaya Bhaskaraya Jaya Jaya Rati Sanistaraya Sanistaraya Bhaskaraya Jaya Jaya Rati Sankaracaya Sankaracaya Advaita Gurave Jaya Jaya Rati Sadgurunata Sadgurunata Shivananda Jaya Jaya Rati Vishnudevananda 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 Jaya Jaya Rati Agastya Munaye Agastya Munaye Shri Rama Priyaye Jaya Jaya Rati Ayappa Samine Dharma Shastavi Jaya Jaya Rati Jesus Guravi Moses Guravi Buddha Guravi Jaya Jaya Rati Muhammad Guravi Guru Nanak Guravi Samastya Guru Bho Namaha Jaya Jaya Rati Venugopala. We have a handful of people who may be in front right now because we can see, hear, smell together and speak, so that rules out some members. Some of your members can't do all of those things, but some can. Thank you for sharing so much about your experience. That means a lot to me. that you would be able to articulate this, and that you would feel comfortable sharing it with everyone here. That's amazing. And Wildflower, you're the cutest. You really are. Like, and I'm vain, right? Like, I follow beautiful TikTokers. It's true. Like, I'm a fucking vain trans woman. And, like, you make a video about your eye makeup, and I'm just like, oh my god, I want to do makeup like you. I really do. Neither the sun shines there, nor the moon, the stars, nor lightning. So from where does its light come? When it shines, all shines after that. By its light, all else is lit. We feel safe to share here. We have a chart with names, pronouns, abilities, etc. So sometimes just look at the chart and go off that to rule some members out. Huh. Do you use Discord? There's a cool tool on Discord that some of the systems in my server use called Pluralkit that allows you to have different avatars, different digital avatars, depending on who's fronting. I think that tool is really cool. Natatra suyobati natanjakaratam nimavidyobati kutoyamagni. Twameva bantam and banti sarvam tasya basya samridam vivanti. Om gange kayomune kaiva govari saraswati. Narmade siddhikaveri hiyaha. Namastitam namo namaha. Twameva mata chapita twameva. Twameva bandisha saka twameva. Twameva vidya javinam twameva. Twameva sarvam mama deva deva. Tvam kayena vacha manasendriyarva. Buddhyatmanava prakrite sabhavad. Karomi adyad mangalam parasmahe. Narayana iti sarmarpayami. Sarvadharmam pravichaya mamikam savranam vraja. Aham sva sarva papayo mokshayami masicha. Whatever actions I perform with my body, speech, mind, senses, my nature, my intellect, or my emotions, all these, I dedicate to you. To all of you. Thank you all so much for being here with me today. You do use Pluralkit for some servers. You know, systems that have whole servers dedicated to organizing their systems so that they can talk to themselves. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So, got one more prayer for you today. And then we're gonna have breakfast. Yeah. So, this next prayer is called Kaddish. This goddess here is also called Kadesh, Kadosh, Kadesh. I don't know how to pronounce her name. But she was worshipped in ancient Canaan 3,000 years ago. There's a city named after her that was destroyed. Communication channels, fronting logs, lists of date and appointments. Yeah. I imagine it can take tremendous cognitive load to keep track of everyone. Huge amount of cognitive effort. And sometimes software like Discord can help. So, Kaddish is a prayer of mourning. So we'll say Kaddish today for all of those people who died yesterday of coronavirus, ongoing pandemic, and at this point, if there are any names or ideas that you are mourning, anything that is bringing up grief for you today, and you feel comfortable sharing it in the chat, say Kaddish for them too. You have alarms reminding you to check the systems journal to see what others have to say, because sometimes you can't directly talk to one another. So, but you can talk to each other through journaling. Wow. That's incredible. Sounds like a tremendous amount of work. So Kaddish for all those who suffer, right? For all of the suffering that has occurred in the last 3.8 billion years. All the life on this tree. To live is to suffer. And so we say Kaddish for all of them. And For the last 2,500 years, probably, since the book of Isaiah, probably. When Isaiah was at the throne of Yahweh, angels covering him, chanting, Kadosh, 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 holy, holy, holy. This destruction of the city is holy. From then until now, we've been saying Kaddish. The host has 7 members he can communicate with directly. And edge rest is a game of telephone. Huh. Wow. It's not raining. You're probably hearing my air purifier. Your neighbor just diagnosed for terminal cancer. Yes, we can say Kaddish for her. Yid Kadal, Vid Kadash, Shemei Rabbah. Bioma Devrachiote, Viam Lich Malchute, Bachayachon of Yomechon of Chayed Kobe Israel, Bagalau Bizwan Kari Vimru. Amen. Yehe Shemei Rabbah, Miva Arch Leolam, Olmei, Olmaya. Vit Barach, Vishtabach, Vit Baar, Vit Ermam, Vit Naseh, Vit Adar, Vit Ale, Vit Allah Shemei, de Kudishah Baruchu, Leila Min Kol Birchata Vishirata, Tishbechata, Venechimata, Tiamiran Biama Vimru. Amen. Yehe Shlamai Rabbah, Amin, Shemaya, Vichayim Aleinu Viachol Yisrael, Vimru. Amen. O say Shalom, Vimramav. Huya, I say Shalom. Aleinu Viachol Yisrael, Vimru. Amen. O say Shalom, Vimramav. Huya, say Shalom Aleinu. Viachol Yisrael. Vimru, Vimru. Amen. Thank you all so much for joining me here today for these prayers. It means a great deal. And now it's breakfast time. I'm hungry. I'm hungry, Lara. It's breakfast time. So we're going to turn around the phone. What religion? Does anyone in chat want to tell them? What religion? I don't know. Sometimes I just don't know. Look, there's the Ouroboros. There's me in a screen. Some version of me. Some version of me in this screen, some version of me in that one. It's an important image.